Hello, everyone, and welcome to P1 Broadcasting coverage of the NTRL Prospec Custom Accessories Xfinity Series. As always, I am Mark Murphy, joined alongside by AMA, American Motorsport Association Chairman and new Truck Series Champion Kendale Paul. Kendale, we're here for 70 laps tonight at Talladega Super Speedway. One of the premier motorsporting facilities in the world, often called the world's fastest super speedway. And Kendale, we're in for a treat tonight, don't you think?
Oh yeah, 100%. You come to Talladega Super Speedway, you're always in for a treat. So looking forward to see some 2-1, maybe even 3-wide racing action around this beautiful Talladega Super Speedway.
This is the penultimate round of the NTRL Prospec Custom Accessories Series. This will be the final race of the playoffs. Next week, we'll go to Homestead, and that is same time, same bad channel, for 130 laps under the lights at Homestead Miami Speedway to crown the champion in the NTRL Prospec Custom Accessories Xfinity Series. But tonight, we are at Talladega, and Talladega has a very long and rich history with NASCAR. It was originally built in 1969 by Bill France Sr. as a twin to Daytona, except bigger and with steeper banking. It is 2.66 miles in length as opposed to the 2.5 that is Daytona. It is one lane wider. It is 33 degrees of banking in the corners. It is 16.5 degrees banking in the trioval and 2 degrees on the backstretch, so basically flat. This track is also different than its cousin in Daytona in that it does not feature a well-used infield road course. You can kind of see the layout for what it once was, but it's no longer used. And the start-finish line here is down toward Turn 1. And the reason that was done is because Bill France wanted to sell the tickets in the grandstand that were down toward Turn 1. He noticed that at Daytona they did not sell very well. And so here they put the start-finish line down there to sell those seats. This track was originally built on the site of the Anniston Air Force Base. So you can kind of see, if you see the different colored concrete there in the infield, that is an old airstrip. He had originally wanted to build the track in Spartanburg, South Carolina. That fell through, and they moved it to Anniston Air Force Base in Anniston, Alabama. The track is actually located in Lincoln, although it calls itself the Talladega Super Speedway. In 1969, they opened the joint up, and the drivers promptly boycotted the track, leading Bill France Jr. to break the newly organized Professional Drivers Association union by organizing the race with ARCA drivers. And that is absolutely true. That was the only race ever won by Richard Brickhouse, who drove Bobby Allison's Dodge Charger Daytona in the event. The track generally expanded over the years and became one of the most popular stops on the schedule. It's known for its raucous party scene, including a point in the 1987 Talladega 500 where a fan stole the pace car. Did not wreck the pace car, as happened this week in Phoenix, but he stole the pace car and started turning laps and made a couple of circuits before the Speedway officials realized that a fan had stolen the pace car. The all-time winners at this track basically are named Earnhardt. Dale Jr. and Dale Sr. both, I believe, are tied for all-time wins here. The track record is held by Bill Elliott, 212 miles an hour. This was also the site of A.J. Foyt breaking the closed course world speed record in the Oldsmobile Aerotech, which essentially was a March IndyCar chassis with a streamlined Oldsmobile body over it and a turbocharged stock block Chevrolet engine. That 230 some odd mile an hour lap record stood until it was broken by Gilles de Ferran in California in the 2001 California 500. This was also, of course, the end scene for the movie Talladega Nights. And so That's a little bit of history in Talladega for you. The Xfinity track record here, 48,695. That was set by Joe Nemechek in the 2008 Sparks Energy 300 in Kendale. We have qualifying underway here. About 5 minutes left. 5 minutes left. Caleb Sisk, 176, 152 is on the pole provisionally. Paul Ferdiani is second, 176, 114. Skylar Hare third, Joshua Moore fourth. Matt Sizzle will round out your top five. We do have 23 cars signed in for the event. Of those 23, 17 have already taken time. Give a shout out to Sean Roberts, too. He just joined in the chat to say 4 days past carpal tunnel surgery. He had to knock a few newtons off the wheelbase, but he's here and ready to run in the round of 10. And Kendale, give us kind of a picture of what the playoff standings look like for these drivers here in the final round of the playoffs.
Yeah, like you said, it is the final round before the playoffs, so it is go time for most of these drivers if you're right around the cut line. Caleb Sisk, Matt Sizzler, and Sean Roberts and Alfred Sharon Jr., they're looking really good on top of the board. They're 40 points and above. But ones to kind of watch out for is kind of near that cut line right now is Dylan Bright, Nick Biddy. They have not scored any points here in the round of 15 yet. But Paul Durkeek, Joshua Moore, they have as well. But we also want to take a look at the cut line right now. It is separated by a whole whopping 0 points. So something we'll have to really keep an eye out on. Joseph Bennett and Benjamin McKinnon. I believe Benjamin McKinnon is out on the racetrack right now putting in qualifying time. And, you know, when you're that close in the point standing, you're almost forced to run a qualifying lap because you want to get as many spots in front of that guy as possible. You really want to play it safe, even with all the bonus points. But also, another thing to kind of watch out for is Joshua Moore. He's been having a lot of connection issues we've seen in the round of 15 and even in the round of 20. He's been in the spot to win a race, but the internet has said no to him and denied him of that. He is in a pretty tough spot, 29 points collected in the round of 15. So something to watch out for Joshua Moore.
Absolutely. We're watching the number 12 of Benjamin McKinnon. I'm going to flash the playoffs back up here, because that's going to be a battle between Joseph Bennett, Benjamin McKinnon, and Joshua Moore. They are 2 points between the three of them. Paul Durkee is only 4 points out of that battle. So let's keep a close eye, a sharp eye on those four cars. Anything can happen at Talladega. Watching Benjamin McKinnon come to the line, going down the backstretch here. Talladega qualifying is very simple. You run the high line on lap 1, and you try to keep the car as low as possible on lap 2. You do not want to vary from the yellow line, and just basically, Kendale, hold her wide open, let her rip, and try not to turn the wheel as much as possible.
And also something you see a killer every time is when people decide to hit the yellow line or hit the apron, that shoots the car up and loses a lot of speed in your qualifying lap. So something also they got to watch out for. You want to paint the yellow line, but you don't want to touch the yellow line.
Very true. Benjamin McKinnon turns in a lap at 175.508. That is good for 19th on the board. We'll go to Sean Roberts here in the Paul Walker Toyota Supra. First lap, 173.687. We'll see what lap 2 will bring for Sean Roberts. Notice Benjamin McKinnon was running just a little bit off that yellow line. Sean Roberts also did not get all the way down against it. The other thing that you may not notice, or fans may not realize, the part of the track that Sean Roberts is coming through right now, the car gets very, very, very light as it goes through the tri-oval right there. There's almost like a valley or something in the pavement, but the car gets very, very light going through there. Last car out on the track is Alfie Sharon Jr., and then everybody will have taken time. Alfie Sharon Jr. is going to try to get up to the top of the board, replace Caleb Sisk atop it, and he is right down there on the bottom, Kendale.
Yeah, he's been painting that yellow line 1 and 2. He did a fantastic job. He's coming through the tri-oval now. He's going to do a fantastic job of it, and again, we'll see what it reflects on the timing screen as he flashes across the stripe. Good for 11th quick, a 54.33 is the time. So starting right in the middle of the beeswax for Alvin Sharon Jr.
Absolutely, and we're getting ready to set the grid for you. We've got about 5-6 more seconds before the session switches over, and we get to give you the grid. I can't wait for this. These are always so much fun, Kendale. And there you see it, folks. On the pole for today's Prospec Xfinity Talladega 300K for the NTRL boys, Caleb Sisk, the 006, is going to be on the pole. 54.224. Paul Ferdiani is going to be outside in the 44. 54.236. 12 thousandths of a second separate the front row. Skylar Harrod and Sean Roberts will make up row 2. Joshua Moore and Matt Sisler row 3. Joseph Bennett, Justin Lawson make up row 4. And Michael Bennett, Zeth Hawley will round out your top 10. Starting 11th, Alfie Sharon Jr., Nick Biddy will roll 12th, Scott Milner 13th, Mike Corvu 14th, fine and solid run for Mike, 15th, Anthony Williams 16th, Thomas Welch 17th, Paul Durkee 18th, Tom Barish, Joe DeVede 19th, Chris Gones, uncharacteristically, will start 20th. 21st is going to be Benjamin McKinnon. Chris Klein and Jesse Redding are not listed. They did not take time, but Chris Klein and Jesse Redding will be 22nd and 23rd, respectively. We're still waiting on a few cars to grid. Kendale, any predictions for this one?
Yeah, my only prediction is to survive. It's really you can't really predict a super speedway race. You never know what's going to happen at this wonderful racetrack. You don't know what cars you're going to get dealt with. But a pretty safe bet is somewhere up towards the front. Caleb Sisk, Paul Ferdiani starting on that front row. If they can keep that machine up towards the front, you don't want to be up front the whole entire time, but if you can keep it in the first 3 or 4 rows, they should be pretty solid. Just also wanted to note, Benjamin McKinnon and Justin Lawson are going to be getting into line Tony for the start of this race, so a little bit of already playoff trouble for Benjamin McKinnon for last week's ponies.
And there you see it from the drone cam. The field rolling through turn number 1 here at Talladega. The banks here are huge. Have you been down here, Kendale, to a race? Oh,
I have not. I have not been to a super speedway at all yet.
So I have not. My parents have been here. My brother has been here. He actually tried to walk up the banking and claims it is not possible. So they are extremely steep. The other thing I get from driving here is, especially if you're by yourself, it's almost difficult to gauge how much to turn the wheel when you go into turn 3. Like, you're faced with this almost wall, but you don't know how much the car wants to be turned to make it through that corner the first time you go around it.
It is very deceiving, and I mean, it's even harder when you get someone, you're drafting with someone, and all you see is their spoiler. So you got to really gauge when to make that left-hand turn to make the corner around. So that's going to be a challenge that we're going to see all these drivers face here for the 70 laps of this race.
Yeah, it's very difficult. And the other thing is, when trouble happens, because you can only see the spoiler of the car in front of you, and you want to be as close to it as you cannot see when the action develops in front. And that's why the pileups here are so huge. You simply cannot see. You're relying on your spotter. Pace car is getting ready to duck on off, but you literally cannot see when things happen in front of you. All eyes now go to Caleb Sisk. Barty has the green flag in hand. '23 NTRL Prospec Custom Accessories Xfinity Cars Roar to Life. The green flag is out. 70 laps at Talladega are on.
Lead the inside lane to turn number 1, Paul Ferdiani. Yet they're going to stick with their line so far. The inside line's going to get an advantage. As I say, that Matt Sidler is going to come down to the bottom line. Honestly, these cars will go single file. Sometimes we'll see that at Talladega, but also a lot of people downgrade the track. A lot of people changing and swapping lines as Joshua Moore goes up to the top lane here in turn 3 and 4.
Such an awesome shot that is. That low speed shot through turn number 3. Caleb Sisk going to lead him around. Lap number 1 is in the books. Momentarily, Joshua Moore is going to rally on the high side. He'll have some help from Paul Ferdiani and Sean Roberts up on the high side. Meanwhile, Skylar Herod trying to push Caleb Sisk down through turn number 1. That lap was led, I believe, by Joshua Moore, but he's going to pay the price. Caleb Sisk goes back to the lead. He's pushed by Skylar Herod, and that is the 00 of Joseph Bennett sneaking up on the inside as well.
These cars are all running hard early on here. Lap number 2, they're all jostling for position towards the back of the pack. I thought Chris Jones is trying to go make the 3 wide move, but he's going to stick in line. But Caleb Sisk, he's going to stay at that bottom line. It's the shortest way around, so that's why you see Caleb Sisk get such a good lead into the corners. It's the shortest way around, but you'll see the top lane regenerate on straightaways because it is the fastest way around. Speed-wise, but maybe not time-wise. But Caleb Sisk, Skylar here, they're going to get down to a 1-car length advantage, and Joshua Moore kind of on that 3rd row there as well. Maybe Paul Ferdinand get a little hot. That car gets a little hot, so he might be backing off from pushing that machine to cool the machine off, and it looks like Bennett's going to drop up to the high side here.
Yeah, and you can see how organized Sisk and Herod are. Skylar Herod has not left the rear bumper of Caleb Sisk, and we're going to jump on board with Skylar Herod here, just so that the fans at home can see it. That's riding in the passenger seat of Skylar Herod, and this is definitely a contact sport, Kendale.
Yeah, pushing and shoving is a name of the game here at Talladega, trying to get Propel Your driver towards the back field, the number 9 of Thomas Welch. He's going to go spinning to the inside retaining wall. He's not going to hit the inside retaining wall, but he's going to spin. A little bit of trouble towards the back half of the pack. They were looking 3 wide and possibly 3 wide towards the back. Something gone wrong back there, and Thomas Welch, he's going to take a spin here in the early going of this one.
Yeah, we're watching it here. That's Thomas Welch. He's got the 21. Behind him, and it looks like there's contact with a 6. Scott Milner, nowhere to go. Gets into the door of Thomas Welch. No wall contact, but definitely some hard contact between the 6 of Joe David, the 9 of Thomas Welch, and the 31 of Scott Milner. And all of those cars are fighting around that cut line to be in that final 10 for the championship race. Thankfully, no contact to the inside wall. And now we get into a situation, Kendale Paul, where do you use the fast repair? This is a long caution lap here. Do you use the fast repair, or do you let your crew work on it?
I think, honestly, if you can go down there and you can fix as much damage, even if you can only go down 1 lap here, if you can get all your damage fixed within that 1 lap of going down, I think you let the crew fix it, because you never know what's going to throw here at Talladega. Is if you're going to get into a huge one, and you're going to definitely need that fast repair, because it's going to be 30 minutes of required repairs. It doesn't look like there's a lot of front end damage on that machine, so that is good for Thomas Welch. It looks like it's kind of isolated towards the back rear, or the back right or left, sorry, of that Chevrolet Mountain Dew machine. So if his crew can fix it, he can only go 1 lap down. I think he needs to get that fixed by the crew, just to have that fast repair in his back pocket.
Yeah, and I would say that too for Scott Milner. Looking at his machine, it does not look like there's heavy damage to the nose of the Valvoline number 31. Be interested to see who comes down pit road here, if they want to come down pit road, or if they want to come down pit road, or if they want to stay out. The answer is they're all coming, and I doubt that anybody is taking tires here.
No, it's going to be fuel only for all these guys. It's way too early. Even tires, Goodyear tires, is really not a factor here at Talladega unless you get onto a huge long run. And then the Goodyear tires start to become a little bit of a factor, but definitely no jacks going up, just fuel only for all these guys, and lash and go for basically the whole field.
There they all come.
But with this pit cycle, I am quite surprised someone didn't decide to stay out and get a whole bunch of track position, because that sometimes is key here at Talladega, is to get as much track position as you want. You kind of can keep hearing me say you don't want to be at the clear entire front for the whole entire race, because that's going to burn off more fuel than the guy behind you, because he can lift off the gas and just draft to make up the difference. So if you can stay that second, third car lane, you can save a lot of gas. So I'm quite surprised someone didn't try to stay out this time. Everyone coming in with 6 laps in the books to get splash and go.
Yeah, and maybe that's a situation where you don't want to stay out just because you don't want to be short on fuel later and have to pit by yourself. The answer to the question about the fast repair is Scott Milner did not take it. He would have had the heaviest contact out of everybody. 27.9 seconds in the box, did not take tires. But the Valvoline 31 back on the track, 27.9 seconds in the box. I would assume that he has taken all of the repair that he can get. He feels as though that car is good enough to keep up in the draft, and so why not? Don't waste the fast repair now. Keep that in your back pocket because you may need it later. Under caution, 6 laps of 70 into the event. Your leader, Joseph Bennett, Caleb Sisk is second. Skylar Herod is third. Joshua Moore fourth. Matt Sizzler is going to round out your top 5. Sean Roberts, racing with those hurt hands, he is sixth. Paul Ferdiani seventh. Michael Bennett eighth. Zeth Hawley ninth. Nick Biddy is going to round out your top 10. Would like to thank Track Bar Media for their support, tailored for small business owners. We craft dynamic social media content, custom iRacing videos, and unique merch with no minimums. Maximize your reach with our national billboard placement and meet our elite Track Bar Motorsports esports team. Track Bar Media, affordable, impactful, and fast. Race on over to www.trackbarmedia.net now to learn more. Also like to thank Beadle's Custom Car Carriers. They create 164 scale model car carriers and also make all of their kits in-house. They can make trucks to your specs. You can check them out. Beadle's Custom Car Carriers on Facebook and at Beadles on Instagram. Also, we have Davidson Builders, LLC on board with us. They're a beacon of excellence in Cape May County, New Jersey, and stand as a testament to family values and military dedication. As a veteran-owned and operated general contractor and remodeler with over 25 years of unmatched experience, we marry quality with affordability. From tailored customizations to expert craftsmanship, we paint dreams into reality across residential and commercial landscapes. Check them out. That's www.davidson-builders.com. And finally, Numb Thumbs racing fans, are you looking to upgrade your ride? Whether it's your truck, car, Jeep, boat, UTV, or ATV, Prospec has you covered. Locally owned and operated in Jacksonville, Florida, Prospec specializes in high-quality accessories and installations that take your vehicle to the next level. From custom lighting like underglow and rock lights to top-of-the-line sound systems and backup cameras, we've got everything you need to make your ride truly yours. At Prospec, we bring your vision to life with precision and care. Visit us today and see why we're Jacksonville's go-to source for all things automotive and beyond. Prospec, where quality meets customization. Getting ready to bring it back to green here, Kendale. You're going to have Joseph Bennett on the inside, Caleb Sisk on the outside. Row 2, Joshua Moore, Skylar Herod. Row 3, Matt Sizzler, Sean Roberts. Paul Ferdiani is going to be in on the inside of row 4. Zeth Hawley to his outside. Michael Bennett to his outside as we get ready to head back to green here. Barney's got it up in the air, but it's a long way. You see it. It's a long way down there. And it gives you an idea. Whoever leads it coming off of lap 4 on the final, or turn 4 on the final lap, they may not be the winner here.
It is a long way, and green flag is out. Joseph Bennett, but Caleb Sisk going to get a little bit better of a jump, but maybe a little too much room here between him and Skylar Herod. They're going to be side by side going into turn number 1. But we normally see kind of the inside lane prevail here on the initial start, as it is going to pull out to one car length here for Joseph Bennett. Joshua Moore is going to be pushing that Toyota Supra down the back straightaway, but Skylar Herod and Caleb Sisk, the two drivers that we saw work together really well early on, they're together coming into turn number 4, or turn 3 and 4.
Yeah, we saw the cars of Herod and Sisk be far better organized than the other cars around them. That was the reason they were able to maintain the lead. And you're watching Skylar Herod be extremely loyal to the rear bumper of the 006. Meanwhile, down on the bottom, Joshua Moore has not left the rear bumper of Joseph Bennett. He's staying pretty tight down there. Now you've got some more organization up at the front on the top. Sean Roberts has glued himself to the back of Skylar Herod. So those two Camrys are pushing, and they're pushing Caleb Sisk Camaro pretty hard here.
Yeah, they for sure are. And something you got to keep in mind with these Xfinity cars, haven't raced them for a little bit of contact there with Michael Bennett and Joseph Moore. A little bit of push got him uneasy. That's going to give the outside lane a little bit more breathing room. You want to see Caleb Sisk, Skylar Herod, they're going to jump to the bottom lane here in the early going. So Caleb Sisk going to take the primary lead now of the inside line. But what I was just about to say is you got to keep an eye out on your water temperature and your oil temperatures here at the super speedways. You don't need to push the guy in front of you and then blow up. That's something we've seen a lot happen in the Xfinity cars that people don't pay attention to. But we got 3 wide action behind Alfred Sharon Jr. Chris Goins up to the top lane of the racetrack.
There they are. Alfie Sharon Jr. trying to make a rally on the outside. He's got Chris Goins and the 21 of Jesse Redding with him. They're going to make it 3 wide going by Mike Korovu there. And now you see it. So you saw the momentum go. You saw the momentum go up to the high side. The 32 and Nick Biddy said, I want some of that action. And now there's a rally going in the third lane. Up will pull the 64 of Michael Bennett. They're going to hang Sean Roberts into the sucker hole in the middle. No, Roberts is going to jump up there now. Biddy, he's going to go back down toward the middle, and he's got help from Mike Caribou.
All this jostling around is going to give a little bit of room for the inside lane to kind of breathe a little bit, because the top 2 lanes have kind of stalled there with all the repositioning, and they're still not organized on that third lane. They're still jostling around. But Michael Bennett, he's going to take command of the second line. He's going to drive that Chevrolet to the second car in the inside lane. They're going to be probably equal here coming 2, 3, and 4, but we still see in the top third lane. And it looks like there's a little bit of blocking going on with Mike Caribou trying to go to the top lane of Michael Bennett. Michael Bennett shuts that down real quick. But still, Alfred Sharon Jr., Chris Goins towards the back half of the field. They're still trying to get a third lane going here early in the going, which is very surprising. We've got 1 green flag pit stop to make if this thing continues to go green. But obviously they want the track position here early on. Caleb Sisk continues to lead it with Skylar Herod right behind him. Like we said earlier, they've been loyal to each other, pushing them at each other. Will that happen throughout the whole entire race? We'll have to find out. But Nick Biddy looks like he's going to jump to the third lane. So now it's going to be 4 cars strong up to the third lane, and they're powering through.
And I was gonna make the point that Sharon Goins and Alfie Sharon Jr., Chris Goins, and Jesse Redding have been pretty loyal to that third line. Now they got some help from Nick Biddy, and they are pretty organized. They're going to go to the front here. Alfie Sharon Jr. is the second car in that line. Now Biddy is going to abandon him. Nick Biddy is going to jump down in front of the 64 of Michael Bennett. But Sharon and Chris Goins are coming to the front. Alfie Sharon Jr. was 11th 2 laps ago. He has made it to 5th. He is rallying still to the outside of Michael Bennett. He is going to get past Michael Bennett here. He gets another shot from Chris Goins. And we're going to be 3 wide for the lead here momentarily. That's Caleb Sisk on the bottom, the 32 of Nick Biddy in the middle, and Alfie Sharon Jr. is trying to make it a 3-car knife fight for the lead here at Talladega. This is only lap 13 of 70, folks. We've got a long way to go.
And there's already been a lot of close calls. When you have 3 wide action in Talladega, you're going to have a lot of close calls. And there's already been quite a bit of close calls. You got to watch out of how tight you compact the air to the next car in line and how tight you get to that car. If you make a mistake, you're putting the hands of your car and that guy right beside you's wheelhouse there. But we got 3 wide for the lead. Nick Biddy, he's going to dive for the bottom lane. He's going to put a car in front of Caleb Sisk, the Skylar Herod team, I'm going to call it. But Alfred Sharon Jr., he might get clear here on the top lane. What will be interesting to see, I've never really seen it on the iRacing service, is if we get a dominant top line going. Like I said, I've never seen it. You see in the NASCAR Cup Series sometimes, especially at Daytona, where they'll get the top lane rolling, and that's the pure dominant line that everyone will run. And
Ooh,
two
that's
more cars
awfully
will get-
tight. Mike Caravou's going to sneak it in front of Alfie Sharon Jr. and in between him and make it work, and that cost the top a ton of momentum. They cut Mike Caravou the slack, but the top line is now going to go straight for the back. The big winner in all of that, the number 51 machine, that is Chris Klein. He came all the way from the back to 6th in that shuffle, but now we've got the inside line about 6 cars clear here.
Yeah, it's crazy how quick, if we went from 3 wide quickly down to 2, and the inside line now is starting to become the dominant line, and we'll see if we can get some more cars. If that top line starts getting a little bit more dominant, we'll see some more cars jump to the top lane. They're going to abandon Mike Caravou 3 wide in the middle here, so he's going to be all by himself.
He jumped down to the bottom. He got to the bottom. He got in front of Joseph Bennett. So Mike Caravou makes the move to the bottom. So now we've got 2 distinct lanes. The bottom is 9 cars clear, but the top is going to start to rally. That's Alfie Sharon Jr., Chris Gones, Jesse Redding. You've got Sean Roberts up there, along with the 9 of Thomas Welch, and the 12 of Benjamin McKinnon, the cars on the top. Everybody else has turned it to the bottom of the speedway. Now, Sharon and Chris Gones have proven that they are more than capable. Mike Caravou switches lanes and I don't want to say knocked, but that was some evasive action taken there by Joseph Bennett to get out of the way. But Gones and Alfie Sharon Jr. have remained committed to that top lane, and they are back to the front.
They pulled up over right alongside Nick Biddy and Caleb Sisk. Nick Biddy had a huge moment earlier on. Caleb Sisk, I don't know if he gave him a little bit of a bad bump. He was all over the place there for a little bit. He chucked up the inside lane a little bit. But Chris Gones, Alfie Sharon Jr., they're going to be an epic duo here towards the end of this one. They pushed themselves all the way to the front. They're going to be side by side at the line. We'll see who will lead this time. It's still going to be Nick Biddy that time around. But we got 2 distinct lines once again. Will we see 3 distinct lines?
No, they're hitting the apron. And speaking of those bumps, that's something that I have never been comfortable doing in a stock car with my open wheel background. We don't touch. We don't touch. There's definitely an art form to it. Kendall, kind of talk about how you go about pushing and shoving and using that to your advantage in these things.
Yeah, it's a thing to get used to, and I used to be horrible at it. I mean, I used to wreck people all the time trying to push them. It's something you gotta force yourself to put yourself in these positions to learn how to push. You'll see guys, sometimes you'll see them be what we call squirrely, when they go inside, outside, inside lane, and all over the place. That's them trying to chase the rear end of the car in front of them. And you don't really want to do that. You just kind of want to nice and gently get up to that back bumper, push them nice and easily. You don't want to fight it and make overcorrections, I should say. It looks like Matt Sizzler there. He's going to say, I'm out of here. And he's going to go all the way to the back here. And they're really going. But it is truly an art form, and it takes a lot of practice to do so. And you'll also hear the saying of don't push the pusher. That means the third car in line. You don't want to be pushing the guy that's pushing the guy in front of him. Oh, wow, I can't. That was a jump a lot of a mess, but
you don't. You don't. So that's the most uncomfortable thing you can do if you're the middle car. If you're Caleb Sisk right here, you can wear out the rear bumper of Nick Biddy, but you do not want Skylar Harrod to hit you while you're doing it, especially in the corners. You can kind of lay if you see where Caleb Sisk is positioning his car. You can kind of lay just a little bit to the right of center and still be in contact through the corners, but you do not want to hit him left to center in the corners. That's just going to turn the car around. That's just going to turn the car in front of you around. And you definitely don't want to be doing that while the guy behind you is in contact either. It is very fast, but it is very, very, very scary. Coming to get lap 20 of 70, Nick Biddy, Caleb Sisk, Skylar Harrod, and Joe DeVede are now more or less clear. Alfie Sharon Jr., Chris Gones, Jesse Redding, and Chris Klein, they're trying to get that top line rolling, and they can get there, but they just can't seem to sustain it for very long.
And I'm wondering if the temperature on the Chris Gomes machine is really getting to him, because you see him, he's not on that back bumper down with Sharon Jr. He's actually kind of a half a lane above Alfred Sharon Jr. That's telling me that he's trying to get air into that car, cool that car off, and that's another thing you got to be, it's an art form of pushing, is you got to manage the temperatures. You don't want to get too hot and blow the thing up. So that's going to be a disaster in itself. You're trying to push the guy in front of you, then you blow up, and you're going to cause a big one behind, because you're just going to be stagnant in the racetrack. So that's what tells me from Chris Gomes. He's trying to pull that machine off. It's going to cost him a little bit of time, but we'll see them possibly regenerate here. The best case scenario, honestly, for them is someone would jump in front of Alfred Sharon Jr. for a little bit. So Alfred Sharon Jr. can push the guy in front of him and let Chris Gomes cool off a little bit, but I don't think you're going to see Skylar Harrod abandon Caleb Sisk, and I don't think you're going to see Caleb Sisk abandon Nick Biddy right now here in the early going.
No, and to me, the one thing we haven't seen yet is really the aggressive side drafting. That'll be later on, and that's going to create its own problems with netcode and so forth. But looking at it, we haven't seen guys aggressively side drafting. You're absolutely right, though. I would be shocked if the temperatures, and you see Alfie Sharon Jr. ducking down. That kind of tells me that those two are communicating a little bit. Chris Gomes saying, "Hey, can you drop down a little bit and get me some air?"
And the thing also there is to side draft a little bit and not to get out of touch of the front three here is you kind of want to still have that momentum to and drag that guy back a little bit to slow down the inside lane a little bit, because you don't want to get too far back and then someone 2, 3, 4 guys jump in front of you, and then there goes all your work. So I think that's what it's also you're seeing from Alfred Sharon Jr. is to A, give air, like you said, give air to Chris Gomes, B, pull that guy on the inside line back a little bit to lessen the blow from the inside inside lane.
Yeah, and that's a very fair thing. When you talk about side drafting is not making yourself faster. Side drafting is slowing the car to your left or right down, depending on how you position your car. You're basically using your car to put more air on their rear spoiler and give them more drag. Right? So you're not making yourself faster, you're slowing them down.
And a little bit of maybe a bad bump here from Chris Gomes for Sharon Jr. He gets a little wild there for a second, but he collects that Chevrolet number 78 there. That's something we'll see probably more than once and give these drivers more than one heart attack throughout the course of this race. But it looks like maybe Chris Gomes' temperatures have kind of settled back down. He's back to the back bumper of Alfred Sharon Jr. He's going to push him to the second car in line now. We'll see if we get a battle for the lead here between these two Chevrolets up top and a Ford Mustang and a Chevrolet on the bottom.
Absolutely. So Alfie Sharon Jr. is to the outside of Caleb Sisk. Can't quite get there. You see him go down the back. He can't quite get there just yet. He's even maybe a little bit ahead of Caleb Sisk going into turn 3. Gets a shot, gets wiggly loose, but he hangs on to it. Alfie Sharon Jr. has got his hands full racing with Caleb Sisk and Chris Gomes up there. He's going to get another shot coming down the front stretch. We're watching it from the tower. Big, big, big bump, but you got to hold on to it when you get those bumps.
Yeah, you do, and you got to make sure, Chris Gomes got to make sure that push is center. He's probably using that bow tie on the back, the Chevrolet logo, as reference point. That's because you don't really want to push it on the sides and turn him into the guy into the inside or outside of you. You want to give that nice center push like he's doing right now. This should be a good run here coming out of turn number 2, and that's normally what you see is he's going to get equal here with Nick Biddy here by the end of turn number 3.
There you see it, fans. This is what it looks like from the gyro cam. That is the banking going through turns 3 and 4 here at Talladega. Chris Gomes going to back up from Alfie Sharon Jr. Now you want to back up, you want to give him a shot right here. Hit him again. Now you want to lay off of him going through the tri-oval. Alfie Sharon Jr., though, he's headed for the lead.
Yeah, he is, and the question is if there's communication between Chris Goins and Alfred Sharon Jr. Does Alfred Sharon Jr., once he gets clear of Nick Biddy, does Alfred Sharon Jr. go down to the bottom lane to command this race, or does he wait for Chris Goins? It's all pretty much going to determine on the temperatures of the Chris Goins machine. If Chris Goins is super hot, he might tell Alfred Sharon Jr., go ahead and leave me, and that's right where we saw right there. He got clear, goes to the bottom. It's going to leave Chris Goins out. With 2 other cars behind him, but that's probably not going to be enough. As we're starting to see some single file here, wondering if maybe the save game is starting to come into play here now to try to kick some laps off. But Chris Goins, he's starting to get a little bit of run. If they're communicating, maybe that's what Alfred Sharon Jr. is doing, is he's slowing down that inside lane to give a chance to Chris Goins to get in front of him. Want to see him find out.
I'll tell you what.
I'll
tell you what. Scott Milner just made up about 15 spots. They left the top line open back from Chris Klein, and Scott Milner drove it from the back of the field all the way up to fourth on the outside line. Now Chris Goins is going to get the lead, and he'll slot down in front of Alfie Sharon Jr. That's going to make Jesse Redding the leader. He's got Klein and Milner with him. 22 laps in on this run. I would suspect as we approach lap 28 that these guys are starting to think about pit stops. You could do, based on my limited knowledge here, Kendall, you could do somewhere around 40 laps, maybe.
Yeah, 40 laps, and I think that's in open air, so it's going to be interesting to see how much maybe some of these guys towards the back that don't have to use as much throttle, how much further they can go. Now definitely your leaders like Nick Biddy, he's burned off a lot of Sunoco racing fuel.
Whoa, we've got contact and trouble. Hard into the wall goes Benjamin McKinnon, the 64 of Michael Bennett involved, as is the 31 of Scott Milner. Caution is on the speedway, lap 28. Of 70. And we had just talked about Scott Milner. What a tough break. Hard impact for him. Let's go back and kind of see what transpired. This all starts right here with Caleb Sisk around this group. So we're going down the back. You're going to see some contact here between Sisk, Biddy, and Herod. They get up into Scott Milner. He hits hard. Nowhere for Benjamin McKinnon to go. Hit hard by the 64 of Michael Bennett. Milner gets into it hard. I'll tell you who the big winner out of all this was. It's going to be Josh Moore and Matt Sisler. I don't think they hit anything. And let's go back and watch from the roll bar of Joshua Moore. This is why you play the hanging out in the back strategy, folks. Watch this. See the accident up ahead. You see the drama. He's on the binders. He's going to get it woed up. He's the last car in line, so he doesn't have to worry about getting run over. Just slow down and keep everything in front of you. Do not crinkle. Do not crinkle defenders on the 18 machine, and he just picks his way around through it. He's still slowing down. Car sliding down from the top of the track. Scott Milner's hood goes flying past, but Joshua Moore did not hit anything, and neither did Matt Sisler. Meanwhile, we've got pit stops. Unfolding.
Yeah, pit stops are underway, and kind of seeing split decision from some of these guys. Goodyear tires on some of them. Sunoco racing fuel just in others. A little bit of trouble for was racing leader Jesse Redding. He got onto his back, he split to the side, and when he looked too far to the left, he was almost against the pit wall. So his crew could not service that Ford Mustang, so he had to back it up and recenter it. So a little bit of trouble. He's going to fall all the way down to 13th, so 13 spots lost for Jesse Redding on that pit stop, so a little bit of trouble there. But mixed strategy for some of these guys. Goodyear tires on some of them, Sunoco racing fuel, and only in some others.
Speaking of strategy, Scott Milner is going to come back out on the speedway. He did use his fast repair on that one. Milner used his, as did Benjamin McKinnon and Michael Bennett. Sean Roberts notably did not. Heavy contact for the 33. He did not use his fast repair, though. He was at 40.2 seconds in the box. Also, heavy repair from Mike Carvu, 54 seconds in his pit box. So, again, that strategy of saving the fast repair, if you've used it, you might be in trouble later. So Milner, he's used his. McKinnon has used his. Michael Bennett's used his. Mike Carvu and Sean Roberts electing to have their mechanics fix their automobiles, and they'll be back out on the speedway still with a fast repair in their pocket.
And we're seeing the Chris Gomes machine right now drop to the end of the longest line here, so wondering if he got beating on the pit lane. He might have. He's going to go all the way to the back, make that 2 weeks in a row pitting gone wrong for Chris Gomes. Goodness. But he's going to bring his car back down to the pit lane, probably top off Sunoco Racing Fuel. So that's going to split up Chris Gomes and the 78 of Alfred Sharon Jr. a little bit. Oh no, it's Alfred Sharon Jr. is down pit road as well. I think we got some guys coming back down pit lane to top off the Sunoco Racing Fuel.
Yeah, half a dozen or more cars, Kendale, are back down pit road. Some of that's going to be fixing damage, but some of it's going to be topping off with fuel. Joseph Bennett is back into effect more repair to his machine. And again, these are long caution laps here where they take 2-3 minutes.
Yeah, just about last time by, lap time came in 1 minute 55 seconds. So it's not a nice, easy, short way around like Martinsville. It's a journey for all these vehicles to make it around this racetrack.
Yeah, and you can get a lot of work done in a caution period here. You've essentially got 4 minutes. So if your car is not, if you've got less than 4 minutes damage, no point in taking the fast repair. Joseph Bennett appears to be satisfied with the repairs to his Supra. He'll go back out. He'll be last in line, but still with his fast repair. 31 laps of 70 completed here. Skylar Harrod is your leader. Joe DeVede in the number 6 second. Good run for Joe. Chris Klein is third. Nick Biddy fourth. Anthony Williams fifth. Tom Bear is sixth. Paul Durkee seventh. Justin Lawson is eighth. Caleb Sisk is going to be ninth. Jesse Redding is 10th. Thomas Welch is 11th. Sean Roberts 12th. Benjamin McKinnon 13th. Scott Milner 14th. Alfie Sharon Jr. led the cars that pitted. Behind him, Sizzler, Hawley, Ferdy, Annie Gones, Michael Bennett, Joshua Moore, Mike Caribou, and Joseph Bennett as we head back to green, coming to get lap 32 of 70 here at Talladega.
And that Scout Harris is going to lead the field to the long ways around this racetrack to the Geico restart zone. Green flag back in the air. Scout Harris, really the top and bottom lanes get about it. Start with Scout Harris going to prevail here on the inside lane with the 51 of Chris Klein pushing him. A little bit moving towards the back already from that single file. They're already quickly getting double file. But Scout Harris leads this field. Notably, him and Caleb Sisk have been split up. So Scout Harris is going to have to find some new friends out there on the racetrack to push with. It looks like right now he has Chris Klein right there pushing him. But it looks like the outside lane starting to come back.
Kendale, your friends are where you find them, buddy. Chris Klein. Chris Klein is now Skylar Harrod's new best friend, and Anthony Williams. This is some of the best positioning we've seen from him since we've been covering the series. I give a shout out to Matty Wagner down there in the comments. Thanks for tuning it in, Wags. Good luck tonight later on in your race. Meanwhile, Skylar Harrod's going to lead it from Chris Klein. They are single file. Paul Durkee is fourth. Caleb Sisk has made it back up to fifth now, and Sisk has been pretty much on the front row for this entire race. This is going to be interesting to see if Caleb Sisk can work his way back up, but already we're going to go 3 wide here at the front.
Yeah, they're going to take the 13 Calder Keegan. Going to put him in the express lane, middle line. If he can't find him, a little bit of trouble. There's one car on the outside catch fence. It's going to be the Valvoline machine. Big trouble towards the back half of the field. They're still wrecking a little bit. And big wreck here under turn number 3 and 4. I'm pretty sure one into the outside catch fence. So huge trouble here on lap number 33.
We're watching Scott Milner. That's the 31 Valvoline machine, and he has already used his fast repair. Looks like the 20 got into him. Hard into the outside wall for Milner. Hard into the outside wall for Benjamin McKinnon. Hard into Scott Milner goes Alfie Sharon Jr., and he'll collect Mike Carrevu. And then just at the end, a slight touch for the freshly repaired machine of Michael Bennett.
Now for Sharon Jr., he has a lot of damage to the front end of that vehicle. He's going to have to take the tow to the pit lane, as there is no right front Goodyear tire on that machine, so a lot of heavy damage to the 78 as well.
Yeah, and that's a tough break here at Talladega because it takes a long time to be towed around this facility. Alfie Sharon Jr. is already 1 lap down. Your leader, Chris Klein, in the 51, followed by Anthony Williams, Caleb Sisk, Paul Durkee, Joe DeVede, Nick Biddy, Thomas Welch, Tom Barish, Sean Roberts, Jesse Redding will round out your top 10. Going to be interesting to see who comes down the pit lane and who stays out.
And I think we're right on the line of who can make it and who cannot. So looks like we're going to see a lot of cars come back down to the pit lane to at least get Sunoco Racing fuel. One car that did not, I believe, is going to be the 13 of Paul Durkee. He's going to elect to stay out on the racetrack. He's going to assume the race lead.
Yakindale, we do have... Excuse me, got something caught in my throat. Durkee, Hawley, and Skylar Herod all stay out. As we see the NTRL Prospec Custom Accessories Xfinity machines file away from pit road. There's your leader, Paul Durkee, in the 13. That's the Meineke machine. Zeth Hawley is second. Skylar Herod third. Those cars all stayed out. Everybody else has pitted. Now, it's worth noting that Skylar Herod did come in and top off right before the green flag. So he's only got 1 extra lap on his tank of gas. Paul Durkee's been out 6 laps, Zeth Hawley 5. Everybody else has pitted under this most recent yellow, or they are currently on pit lane.
And really, I think with this green, this yellow flag pit stops for everyone that goes down, that kind of equals out Skylar Herod, Zeth Hawley, and Paul Durkee, since they did come in that final lap, the 1 to go. They did come back down and get Sunoco Racing fuel. So I think this should equal them out with the whole entire field. Zeth Hawley, before this caution, he was in 14th. He goes all the way up to 2nd. So did Skylar Herod. He was like 21st, I believe, in the running order. He's going to be all the way up to 3rd, but seeing him drop to the end here, so something's going on there. We'll keep an eye out on that and give you an update if we find something out.
Absolutely. Alfie Sharon Jr. still sits on pit road 2 minutes, 46 seconds under tow. Although that car is now rolling, he has lost 1 lap and 1 lap only. Lights are still on the pace car. He did use his fast repair. He will be 1 lap down, but he'll be able to get that lap back. I have a sneaking suspicion, Kendall Paul, we are not done having yellow flags here.
No, we're not, and we're only in lap 35, and I mean, knock on wood, we don't see a big one, but normally when you go to Talladega, you always see the big one happen, and we haven't yet seen that one quite yet, surprisingly, and that normally happens with 10 to go, when all bets are off, and everybody's not going to give each other room, and that's when the big one happens. But I totally 100% agree with you. We're going to see 1 more caution, if not 2.
And it's anybody's race, really. We saw just before that accident, Scott Miller drove from the back of the field up to what, 4th, just by using the draft and playing that correctly. Joshua Moore, poor guy. He's he's been riding in the back. He was collected in that last incident, but Joshua Moore has not used his fast repair. He is currently 18th in the number 18. Be interesting to see when the guys that have been riding around in the back, Matt Sisler, Joshua Moore, when they deem it go time, and Seth Hawley blinking a little bit there on the top line.
Yeah, and something else would be interesting to kind of find out and see what happens. It's like someone like Alfred Sharon Jr. that has used their fast repair. How hard do they push here in the mid-section of this race, since they know that they have no fast repair to fall on? Do you stay in the back and ride it out, hope for another big one, get the lucky dog, get your lap back, or do you try to dice it up a little bit, get your lap back the hard way? Something that's all going through those minds of these drivers right now here as we're getting ready to go back to green flag racing.
And it's not just that, it's playoff calculus too. So if you're Alfie Sharon Jr., and we'll flash the playoffs back up here for you. If you're Alfie Sharon Jr., you do not want to take a last place finish here. You're firmly ensconced in that top 10. You want to make sure you make it to the next round. And so, that's going to be on these guys' minds for sure. The pace car is off. Barney has the green flag in hand. Lap 36 coming to get 37 here at Talladega. Racing resumes.
Green flag, green flag.
Green flag back in the air once again. Chris Klein is going to find a new best friend once again of Paul Derkey. He's going to push that Chevrolet machine to the front, but they're not going to get a big jump like they used to. Caleb Sisk, he's back on scene of the race lead. He's pushing the number 24, Seth Hawley, on the outside lane here as we go down to the back straightaway, as they're equal coming off turn number 2, and they'll continue to be equal here coming through turn number 3. We'll see if one of those lines will prevail. Looks like both lanes are pretty equally matched so far.
They are indeed. Seth Hawley has not been up front most of the day. Neither has Paul Derkey. Chris Klein has been in and out of it. Joe David making his first appearance at the front. It's one of the great things about Talladega Daytona. This is a very particular skill set, and some guys are just very, very good at this. But Talladega tends to produce first-time winners. Notably, how about Bobby Hillen among that group? There have been several guys, Phil Parsons being another one. They won their first and only Cup race here at Talladega. So it has a long and storied history of that.
And look at here, we're 4 wide here towards the front. A little bit bad push here to this Holloway machine, the 24 by Caleb Sisk. They do get it sort of 3 wide now. Look who's on the top. Chris Gomes, Alfred Sharon Jr. up to the top lane of the racetrack once again. So Alfred Sharon Jr. lucky to help Chris Gomes out once again. We about had the big one here at Talladega. I think we're 4 wide down the back straightaway.
I think Caleb Sisk wanted to go around Seth Hawley. Didn't quite get it done. He gets to the top and he's back with Nick Biddy. He's back with Nick Biddy now. They've kicked Seth Hawley to third in that line. Meanwhile, Chris Gomes all over the back. Anthony Williams, Alfie Sharon Jr. up there in support. They're trying to make the third lane work.
Yeah, the third lane work here in lap 40 of 70. Definitely trying to get that track position. And it makes me real nervous when you see them 3 wide and you kind of see these cars zooming in and out. It gets real scary because one wrong move, just a micro fraction of an inch gone wrong, can determine the big one or not. But the 5 machine, Anthony Williams, is going to lead that third lane here in the mid portion of this race. We'll see who leads it. We might have a 3 wide battle for the lead here towards the line, and we'll see who leads it this time. Here, let's watch the stripe. It looks like it's going to be Caleb Sisk. That's the middle line. He kind of started to prevail out, but they got the less amount of cars in that line, and I mean, honestly, I don't blame anybody for not wanting to be in that middle line, because you got to be the most persistent or the most consistent on the middle line, because you got a car copy a car below you. You can't make a mistake on the middle lane, and that's what causes the big one. And Chris Gomes giving some shots at Anthony Williams' machine.
Yeah, he's definitely trying. They're definitely trying that top line. You got a really stout Camaro there leading the middle. Something the fans at home might not realize, the middle is very difficult, not just because you're close, but we're going to go on board with Zeth Hawley a little bit here, and the reason that we're going to do that is I want fans at home to kind of understand the air is moving him around just as much as he's moving the steering wheel. Sometimes, Kendale, if you're in the middle right there, the car will jump a lane in either direction, and you really don't have control of it.
And also, more factors into that is the guy pushing you, or how close he is, redirecting the air off your back spoiler as well. So there's a lot of factors in play in the middle line as well.
Yeah, there's a lot. I in my limited stock car experience, the one thing that I always try to avoid is being in the middle. I would rather go to the back than be stuck in the middle right there. Speaking of going to the back, give a call down to Matt Sisler. He is 20th. He has not put a mark on that 93 machine all day, and he's just hanging out in the back. Also, Alfie Sharon Jr. is a lap down in this, but he's trying to race his way back onto the lead lap, or at least be that first car one lap down. Benjamin McKinnon is also a lap down, and that's kind of forcing, well, Benjamin McKinnon is not at speed. Andy's blinking, but he is not at speed in the Hellman's Meyer machine.
In trouble to number 4. Looks like Chris goes to the outside. Sharon Jr. is going to get into it again. Thomas Welch also went to this one as well. Another big one strikes here at Talladega in turn number 4. Big trouble for Alfred Sharon Jr. Big trouble for Thomas Welch as they've already used their fast repair. And another big wreck here on lap 42.
Well, it appears as though there were some connection issues happening up there. We saw Jesse Redding blink out. I don't know exactly what the cause of this is. It appears as though Chris Goins may have had, between Dirty Air and Taco Bell, Goins is just hanging on. I don't know if that was a blink or if he blew up.
Chris Goins blew up because I see the smoke that comes out of the back of that Chevrolet Camaro Blue Chew machine. So all that pushing is going to come back to bite him, and exactly what we said earlier is you don't want to happen, is you don't want to blow up in front of the field. That exactly just happened to Chris Goins, and we saw the results of that one here as a big wreck here on turn number 4.
We're going to ride on board with Chris Goins, and this is what it looks like, fans. Watch the tachometer. We'll actually go into the cockpit. So this is what Chris Goins is seeing from his rig as he's driving along right behind Anthony Williams, and there it goes. You saw the tachometer go down. There is no more oil pressure in the automobile. There are no more pistons, and there is no more block. That baby is blowed up. He has no control over the forward velocity of the machine, and that triggers a massive accident here. We're going to get back out, and let's go back and look at Alfie Sharon Jr.'s view of this. Just watch, you'll see the smoke. Right there. And just nowhere to go for Alfie Sharon Jr., Jesse Redding, Skylar Herod, Thomas Welch. They're all innocent bystanders in that. But the blown engine from Chris Goins will trigger caution here, lap 44 of 70 in the NTRL Prospec Custom Accessories Xfinity Series, Talladega 300K.
I just got to give a shout out to Chris Goins on that one there. After he blew the thing up, he did not stop that race car. He let it roll all the way to the pit lane. He got it safely to his pit box, got that fast repair implemented. He's back out on the racetrack, and I don't think he lost a lap. So a lot of a big break for him there that he could get down the pit lane and didn't have to tow.
Not only that, he still scored second.
Yeah.
So how about that for Chris Goins? He does get the fast repair, though. And my assumption is he's going to get sent to the back here. Speeding on pit road would be the most likely culprit. You see him slowing down to let the field by. You've got to keep the clutch in. But that's the smart move from Chris Goins to keep it rolling, get it down to the pit lane, keep the clutch in, get to your pit box, get the fast repair. Yeah, you're going to have to go to the back, but smart move from Chris Gones. Now, we're starting to get to a point where a lot of these guys have used that fast repair. Seth Hawley, Caleb Sisk, Joe David, your front three, they still have it in their back pocket, as does Chris Klein and Sean Roberts in fifth. Nick Biddy, Anthony Williams, Tom Barish, Joseph Bennett, and Joshua Moore, your top 10. None of those guys have used the fast repair. Michael Bennett in 11th has. Sizzler, Durkee, Justin Lawson have not used their fast repairs. Skylar Harrod has. Jesse Redding did not elect to use the fast repair that time. Chris Gones obviously did, as has Mike Carvu. Benjamin McKinnon, Paul Ferdiani did not. Thomas Welch has, as has Alfie Sharon Jr. And I would surmise that Alfie Sharon Jr., well, no, he's back out on the racetrack. There he is. You see the bent rear television panel on the 78. So he's going to try to stay out there if he can avoid being involved in a caution, maybe get the lucky dog and get back in this thing.
Yeah, for sure. And another question I'll kind of throw out there is, now that you know something like that can happen with blowing up the engine, seeing Chris Gones, it's going to be interesting to see how hard these guys push now. And something you see at Talladega Superspeedway and all the superspeedways is the more you push harder and harder, the more hurt your engine's going to be. So it's going to be more likely your engine is going to blow, like we saw with Chris Gones' machine. So it'll be interesting to see how hard these guys push now that they know that it's a possibility, and it's going to be a big mistake if you do. So we'll see and find out here once we go back to green flag racing.
You know, we used to hear that from Paul Page all the time in the old Indy 500 broadcast. You go back and watch, you would see a teammate car have a mechanical failure, and they would immediately start thinking about, okay, Rick Mears just blew up. What about Emerson Fittipaldi and Danny Sullivan? And so these guys are all thinking that. They know by now that Chris Gones blew the motor in the 41, and so they're going to adjust accordingly because they now know there is a limit to how much you can push the car in front. I am surprised that Skylar Harrod never suffered that fate, because he was all over the back of Caleb Sisk early in this race.
And there's a very fine line in doing that, and it's like we said earlier, it's an art form to figure out that line enough where you can be a factor to push and still get air to that machine. But pace car is off and away. They get going back green flag racing.
Here we go. Seth Hawley, Caleb Sisker front row, Joe David, and Sean Roberts. David blinks out. Sean Roberts, row 2. Row 3, Anthony Williams and Nick Biddy, Paul Durkee and Tom Barish, row 4. Skylar Harrod and Justin Lawson in row 5. Here comes the green flag, coming to get lap 46 of 70 here at Talladega.
Seth Holloway, he's going to get a huge jump on the field. The question is, was that too big of a jump? We'll see as Caleb Sisk going to take advantage of that, going to draft up to the back of that 24 machine. Will he pull out and try to take that position? The answer is no. He's going to just tuck up behind and push that 24 machine. But it looks like Sean Roberts here to the outside lane here as well. But it looks like we're going to get single file pretty quickly, and the top line's starting to fall apart. But the 21 of Jesse Redding, he's out to the rescue for the top lane. He's going to try to get up to those 3 there to get the outside lane going, and once again, but the inside line proving to be dominant right now.
It should be no surprise, if you look at the back of the field, it should be no surprise that Chris Gones and Alfie Sharon, now Gones pulled the bottom, but Chris Gones and Alfie Sharon Jr. were still trying to make that top line work up to a couple of moments ago. Now they've pulled it back down in line. I would assume, and this is just me, but we always enter, it seems, races at Talladega and Daytona where we sort of ride for a while. Do you think, Kendale, that we're starting to get into that phase of this race where we've got enough gas to make it to the end? We've got some cars that definitely have had the fenders bent. You think that some of these guys might just want to ride and click off some laps here?
I think that's the majority of the field, but you're going to still have some of those guys that are going to have the itch that they want to get to the front and be at the front and be on defense towards the end of the race. There is sometimes a narrow window where it is very calm and they're just ticking off laps. We saw a little bit of that earlier, but then it went all out the window when you saw 3 wide once again. We could see that narrow window pop back out again, but with 20 laps to go here pretty shortly, we're probably at 22. And
Well, we got Skylar Herod down on the
Harris
apron. He saved it. Skylar Herod. Holy mackerel.
Matt Slither gets spun right behind him. He's on the apron. He's going to get saved as well. So some very big saves out of turn number 2.
I'm going to go back and we're going to queue up the replay of Skylar Herod. I want to show the fans that are watching at home his hands. Watch this from the roll bar. Let's get the stuff out of the way. Watch Skylar Herod's hands going through turns number 1 and 2 here. He's going to get a shot and he's going to go right down to the apron. He doesn't really lose all that much time either. What a great piece of driving from Skylar Herod.
Yeah, he's going to still be in that 4th lane there. Oh, 4th row, sorry, in the inside lane. But with all that, that did check up the second part of the field. And we're going to see from the 51 back, I think that's the 51 of Chris Klein, it is. We're going to probably see them probably start to fall back unless these guys can get organized and push back up to the main pack. Now, the worst nightmare for these guys is if these guys in front of them get single file and go faster around the racetrack, and you're not going to be able to keep up. So some desperation will take from Joshua Moore and how close he is trying to push the 51. They should catch up to the main pack.
Yeah, they were 1.4 seconds behind. They've cut it back to a second, so they're going to come back as long as they stay in line. They're going to be back here in the pack. Joshua Moore just ran the fastest lap of the race, so they're going to be back in touch momentarily. But there are disparate groups, so you've also got Justin Lawson. He is by himself. And then you've got Michael Bennett and Mike Corvu. They are working to get back to Lawson. And then finally Chris Gones and Matt Sizzler, they're the two that may be in trouble because Gones has 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds of the car in front, and Sizzler is 1.4 seconds back, and they are losing time to each other. Might it benefit Chris Gones to back up to Matt Sizzler here?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, the question now is it too much ground to make back up? As the field's getting to turn number 1, Chris Gones and them, they're still way spread out. So they might be here lost at sea here unless we get a caution. I don't think you're going to get a 2-car tandem here to catch up to the main pack, as they are seeing that main pack just sort of fly away.
They might have hurt us because Chris Gones has cracked the throttle, and Matt Sizzler has started to catch him. Those two are dropping 2 seconds a lap to the front of the field. They need to get going. They need to get going because we got a car spun down on the pit lane. Who is that?
That's Howie, the race leader of lap before. He's going to spin it to the pit lane. I'm for sure what happened.
Well, here he is. He looks like he's coming to pit road, and the thing just hooks up with him. I don't know if that's too much brake bias or if he had overheated the tires or what. But that's a weird incident. He did intend to come to pit lane there. He did turn it left. He's slowing down. It's almost like he locked the rear brakes.
Yeah, I mean, the question also is why come to the pit lane here on the green flag all by yourself? Because you're going to put yourself basically a lap down because you're not going to have any help. So he must have been short on fuel and had to make a desperation call to come down to get Sunoco Racing fuel. That's the only thing that I could think of. You don't have a penalty. It doesn't look like he has a penalty on timing and scoring. So
he doesn't. He is going to go a lap down though. Meanwhile, Sizzler and Chris Gomes have gotten together, and so they have arrested, or they're going to try to arrest that time lost. They are still slower than the main pack, but it's not decisively so. They were losing as much as 4 seconds a lap. Now they've trimmed that to 3 seconds a lap. But They're going to need, these two are going to need a caution here fairly shortly. They'll be a lap down. Oh, well, they might be able to finish on the lead lap from here, maybe. But they're going to have to start working together. Meanwhile, the rest of the field is back together. So Mike Corvu was the last straggler. He has now caught the rear of the field, and let's reset it. Joe DeVede is your leader. The 6 is being pushed by the 006 on the inside. The outside is Sean Roberts. You've got Nick Biddy as the third car on the inside. He's flanked by Jesse Redding in 5th. Skylar Harrod is 6th. He's the number 3 on the bottom. 7th, scored currently 7th, is Tom Barish in the 55. He's got Anthony Williams to his outside in 8th. Paul Durkee in the 13 Meineke machine is 9th. And Joseph Bennett is going to round out your top 10. We are coming to get lap 55 of 70. We're going to have 15 laps to go here at Talladega. You're watching the NTRL Prospec Custom Accessories Xfinity Series live on the P1 Broadcasting Network.
Yeah, might have a change for the lead here. Joe DeVede went up to the top lane to get up with Sean Roberts. That's going to leave Caleb Sisk the inside lane with Nick Biddy. So they're going to take command of the inside lane, but something interesting showing up in front of those drivers, lap traffic. Where is the lap traffic going to go? How are they going to maneuver around? Looks like Caleb Sisk and Nick Biddy are going to be able to get to the top lane, get around the 78 machine out for Sharon Jr., but they do got 2 more lap cars to get by. Always a very dicey thing to try to navigate yourself around because, A, you don't know necessarily 100% where they're going to be committed, and also you don't know if the top lane is going to let you come up.
Yeah, and that's always a scary thing. You don't want to cause a Randy LaJoie situation there for sure. At the same time, all you want as the leader of this thing, all Caleb Sisk and Joe DeVede want is just for those cars to pick a lane and hold it. Right? Just stay where you're at. I will get around you. But that's a scary thing because those cars are moving 10, 15 miles an hour slower, and we've got trouble. That is Tom Barish. We've got Spinner down to the inside. Caution on the speedway. Oh, Justin Lawson, I thought was going to have it saved. Unfortunately, Mike Corvu came in at the end and cleaned it out.
Yeah, one major beneficiary to this caution is going to be the Chris Gomes machine and Matt Sizzler. They were on a lifeboat as they got thrown off the cruise, per se. Now they're going to rejoin that cruise ship and get back with the lead pack here with this caution flag. Now the question is who goes down to top off of Sunoco Racing Fuel or get tires? That's going to be the question here under this caution flag.
Absolutely. Just watching the accident with Tom Barish, it looked like the gnarly air there got him, and Tom Barish took a spin in the 55 NTG machine. He has made it to pit lane. He still does have his fast repair, so he'll have that available to him. Meanwhile, back at the front, Caleb Sisk is here. And so let's see who's going to come to the pit lane, who is going to stay out. We would assume they've got enough fuel, right, Kendall?
By my calculations, the last pit stop, yes, they should have enough fuel. They are on lap 15 of this. That's just going to benefit. This is just going to benefit because of the caution flag. With 10 to go, we'll have about 10 to go. So they should be on good on Sunoco Racing Fuel, but I would imagine maybe seeing the leaders go down because you're going to burn a little bit more Sunoco Racing Fuel, as we're seeing right now. Caleb Sisk bring it down to the pit lane. But honestly, wouldn't be surprised to see some of these back runners that were towards the back of this pack stay out.
Yeah, we are going to have some guys stay out. We're going to have quite a few come into the pit lane. Love this low angle shot. We're going to get to see the pit stop for Caleb Sisk here. 006 into his pit stall. New hood is going to go on the 33 for Sean Roberts. And there is your leader. That's Chris Klein in the 51. Benjamin McKinnon did stay out in the hopes of getting his lap back. That did not happen. Zeth Hawley is going to be at the tail end of one lap down. So as soon as as soon as the lights go out on the Mustang pace car, Seth Hawley is going to get waved around. He will go back to the end of the longest line and will assume his position back on the lead lap. Benjamin McKinnon, that car has seen better days, but he's still out there, still in the fight. He may be in position to get a lucky dog if it's available.
And another thing to kind of keep an eye out here now is once we go back green flag racing, we're going to be around 10 laps to go at Talladega. And when you get inside 10 to go, all bets are off, elbows are out. So we're about to get treated with some crazy racing here at Talladega. What history has told us, and I'm sure this is going to be the same, as this is the elimination race. You either make it to the round of 10 or your season is over. For these drivers, so something to also keep an watchful eye out for as we're getting ready to go inside 10 to go.
Yeah, now Chris Klein is not a part of the playoff discussion here. Caleb Sisk most certainly is, as is Matt Sisler, Sean Roberts, Alfie Sharon Jr., and what a day Alfie Sharon Jr. has had. Michael Bennett, Paul Ferdiani having a good run today. He is in 13th. You've got Chris Gones, who has ridden the blown up car back to back to 12th. And how about Joshua Moore? He has stayed connected, and he is 6th. So that battle between McKinnon, Joseph Bennett, Joshua Moore, and Paul Durkee is getting fairly interesting. McKinnon, of course, has trouble. So has Joseph Bennett is 8th, but Benjamin McKinnon has had some trouble. Paul Durkee is currently 9th. So that's what the playoff picture looks like. This is the final race, of course. They'll decide it amongst 10 of them. Championship race next week in Homestead.
Yeah, I gotta just point out once again, Caleb Sisk, Nick Biddy on the high side of the racetrack. We've seen them work together very well. Scout Herod is also up there in the mix. I would not be surprised to see Scout Herod make his way up to the top lane with Caleb Sisk, as they've been loyal together and working really well together. If they can get together, it's going to be a dangerous mix for those two to get towards the front and seal the deal here at Talladega. But can someone else make another good best friend and compete with that other friendship?
I am a firm believer here with 10 to go at Talladega. Your friends are where you find them. Teammate associations get you to certain places. Certainly, you and I have both experienced the loyalties of a teammate here. But if you've got a guy that you work really well with and they're on a different team or a different nameplate or a different manufacturer, it might be your arch rival. If he's going to take you to the front, you're going to take that run with him. Coming to get 10 to go. Green flag is in the air from Barney. And we're going to do the crank it up speed shot, Kendale.
Flying back in there, Chris Klein got a massive here as Caleb Sisk and Nick Biddy, they are already formulated really well together. Sean Roberts going to get back to that. We'll find out here at the end of the match straightaway, and he might be able to do it. We'll find out here in pure green 4. Do they jump ship, go to the bottom lane here? We'll find out. They will not get clear. Point there for a second, but Chris Klein going to prevail on the inside lane throughout the corner.
Caleb Sisk, Chris Klein. This isn't a pace lap, is it, Kendale? This is they're doing this at 185 miles an hour.
Oh, no, they're going under pace. It may look like it. If you put in slow motion over to trouble towards the back of the field, you got a car on the apron, got pushed down there, but he's going to get back in the lane. But there's going to be 3 wide towards the back half of the field there. We'll see if they can get that sorted out real quickly and get back in line, or they're going to try to make this third lane start to form here as time is running out. Tick-tock on the clock running out.
You know, and one of the guys that's been at the back all day, and I'm looking to start making some moves, that's a 93 of Matt Sisler. He has ridden out the shenanigans. He has not been involved in an accident. The 93 of Matt Sisler is going to start coming to the front. He is now 16th. And you see it just at the edge of your picture, the teal and white Birdie's golf machine now streaking toward the middle. Let's see how far up Matt Sisler can get here in the closing stages. 9 laps to go, coming to get 8. Your leader, Chris Klein, he's got Sean Roberts behind him. Then Skylar Hare, the middle line being led by Caleb Sisk, Nick Biddy, and Joshua Moore. And then on the top side, you've got the 13 of Paul Durkee, Zeth Hawley, and the 6 of Joe DeVito. And they're trying to stage a late race rally on the fence.
Yeah, if you got burger chips, you want to put them all in now, because we're getting to the closing laps of this one. As we're seeing trouble on the trioval, Chris Goins going to be involved with it. He's going to get a fence, the mouthful of the outside retaining wall. More cars involved. No, yellow flag is now out on the racetrack. A huge one coming out of the trioval.
That's all going to start, well, it's in this clump of cars here. We're focused on Joe DeVede, but let's see. You're going to have the 6 is going to come down, get into the 20. Chris Goins, just an innocent bystander there. Matt Sisler gets his first contact of the day, and it doesn't look like old Goins got hit. He didn't hit the wall.
No, I thought he was, but he did a fantastic job keeping it off the wall, and prevented that from ending his day. It doesn't look like there's a lot of damage on that Chevrolet though.
No, and these cars do have the composite bodies, do they not?
No, I don't think so.
I thought they did. Or am I thinking of ARCA cars? Maybe I'm thinking of ARCA cars. But there's Joe DeVede. He sits on pit road. Meanwhile, Chris Goins has used up his fast repair already today, and so he will be back down to effect repair. I suspect that anybody who has not used their fast repair already is about ready to use it, because we're going to have, by my calculations, 4 laps to go here at Talladega. So a green, white checker.
Yeah, and I was wrong. Xfinity cars do have the composite bodies on these.
Yeah, so they can take as we've learned with the Cup cars, they can take a hit. They can take a hit. These cars do not deform like the old sheet metal cars do, where you would have a small hit and see the large amounts of damage. Now they do break apart, and they will sustain large amounts of damage, but it takes a lot to get them there.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing you'd be concerned with Chris Goins is the position of your steering wheel, and if you have any steering issues with that Chevrolet Camaro, and that's really with anybody in the wreck there. And the big question is also some of the guys that are in the wreck is how much front end damage you got. You can kind of be okay with rear end damage. You definitely don't want any front end damage, because that just messes up with the draft, and you're just going to have basically a big sail on the front of your race car. But some of these cars, they look fine on the front end.
Yeah, Goins, we're watching Chris Goins. He's now 15 seconds in the pit box under repair. You do have a lot of time, as we've alluded to here. You do have a lot of time on the pit lane. Watching Matt Sisler, he's going to be getting his Camry fixed. Sisler has not yet used the fast repair. Goins is going to come back out now. Sisler still sits. He is not using the fast repair. Kendale, are we done with the cautions, or do you think we still have one more, and that's why Matt Sisler is electing to get his super fixed naturally.
Honestly, we still got a lot of cars out there. It could happen where it could be another wreck, but it's almost kind of a coin flip if we're going to have another caution. And that's what I was about to ask, is kind of walk through the mindset of some of these drivers is, I mean, do you put all your poker chips on the table and everything, go in, all in, try to get to the front? Bad thing with that is you risk yourself getting into a wreck, or do you try to kind of hold on to some of your cards and some of your chips and wait for maybe another caution, but you really want to put yourself in that position where you're depending on a caution. That's just something that's going through all these drivers' heads on what they want to do and where they want to be.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, you can't count on another caution. So, you know, you're going to have to start making your way to the front. If you're not already there, you're going to have to get there. My thought process here is I always want to be on the bottom because I feel like there's no place here that's safe, not even the lead. But I feel like the bottom is safer than the middle or the top. You have more room to bail out. Like, let's say there's a wreck on the backstretch. You have room to bail out with that huge apron down there. Whereas, you know, if you're on the top, the accident is going to come into your lane as opposed to going away from it in a corner. So I want to try to get to the bottom, but you're going to have to start going. You're going to have to start. There's no more looking at the gauges. There's no more really worrying about pushing the pusher. Everybody is going to be hitting everybody else now. You're going to have to get lined up. You're going to have to get to the bottom. You're going to have to go to the front.
Yeah, I think to that point, like you said, everybody's going to be pushing everywhere. I don't think the only thing that's not going to be pushed is the pace car at this point. As we're down to 4 to go, probably it's going to get 3 to go here once you go back to green flag racing. So
now, the pace car driver in iRacing has a name, does he not?
He does, but I never remember it.
Is he able to avoid sand barrels at the end of pit lane?
You know, I've never seen him hit a sand barrel, but I've never seen a real life pace car hit a sand barrel, so I wouldn't put it past him.
Maybe that's something for the devs. They can have the pace car hit the barrels at the end of pit lane every so often. I don't know. It might spice things up every so many times. The pace car in iRacing, by the way, is hollow for everybody who doesn't know that. Gary Godso invariably gets angry with me because I will drive into the pace car from time to time and advise everybody in the field what's on the radio station and so forth. Because although it's hollow, the pace car is drawn, so you can see exactly what's going on inside of it, but you can drive into it if you so choose. In all seriousness, though, Caleb Sisk is going to lead Nick Biddy, Chris Klein, Joshua Moore, and Sean Roberts back toward the green flag here. We're going to have 4 laps to go at Talladega. It's going to be just enough time, Kendall Paul, for them to get wound up, all wound up and ready to go.
Green flag, green flag.
It's going to lead the inside lane, but it looks like the outside lane a little bit more organized than earlier. Nick Biddy leads that one with Joshua Moore. Look at Joshua Moore. He's up towards the front of the field. He needs a really good points day to advance himself to the championship race in Homestead, to have hope to compete for a title here in the NTRL Xfinity Series. They're side by side. They're equal down the back straightaway.
Still 2x2. Nobody has ventured into that middle yet. Sisk and Biddy on the front row. Chris Klein, Joshua Moore, row 2. But they're going to have they're going to have a challenge there from Sean Roberts. The inside line has been is now much more organized than the top. The top, though, they've got some strong pushers out there. You got Joshua Moore, you've got Skylar Herron, and you've got Anthony Williams, and they are all hooked nose to tail going through the tri-oval. 4 to go, 3 to go.
Yeah, we're seeing drivers work with each other, but I think once that white flag lap comes out, you're going to see friends become enemies here on the white flag. I'm sure we'll see a little bit of trouble maybe for the 13 there. He gets a little bit higher for close to comfort. But Caleb Sisk and Nick Biddy continue to lead it the question is, when will that third lane form up? It's not a matter of if, it's going to be a matter of when. You're going to have to make your moves here pretty shortly as we're coming to get to the go.
Yeah, and how far? Well, now we're seeing it. Seth Hawley just pulled his Chevrolet Camaro out toward the top. Joseph Bennett in the 00, he's also going to move up there. So the third lane is, well, now Joseph Bennett thinks better of it. Now he needs a little bit more of a run, and there he goes. So the third lane is now 4 cars deep. Meanwhile, Chris Klein just about hit the apron going into turn number 1. 2 laps to go, lap and a half. If we get back to the white without a yellow, the next flag does end the race.
Yeah, the question is if we're going to make it there. There are 4 wide, looks like, towards the back half of the mid-pack.
Joshua Moore, big move. He's going to go up and block the high line. He's going to go past Nick Biddy. The race is now going to be between Joshua Moore, Nick Biddy, and Caleb Sisk.
And now it's the race to the white flag to end this race here. There are 3 wide. It's all bets are off. Contact towards the back half of the field, but I think we're going to get the white flag. Caleb Sisk going to lead the field here as they gather the white flag. 1 lap to go here at Talladega.
3 wide, 4 cars deep, but that's for second. Caleb Sisk has the lead on the bottom. Can Nick Biddy, being pushed by Skylar Harrod, or Joshua Moore, he's got Joseph Bennett right behind him. Can either of those 2 lanes get enough momentum to slide past the 006? Biddy's going to make a bid. He's going to draw even with Joshua Moore going down the back.
There are 3 wide, and Talladega's been famous for photo finishes where we see it. A little bit of squirrely on the third lane, but they're going to get it recuperated. It's all going to be down to who leads it at the checkered flag. Caleb Sisk right now commands it right now, but the 2 lanes are gathering momentum and trying to make a run for it. Oh, trouble! Caleb Sisk going to get wrecked. Who's going to make it to the 1? The whole field collected. Who just won that race? A big wreck. Caleb Sisk leads it with the white flag. He all the way down to 13th.
Let's go back to the replay because I have no idea. There's where we're gonna pause it. Literally, the entire field is involved. Paul Durkee has been scored the winner. Anthony Williams second, and Justin Lawson going to round out the podium. Matt Sisler is 4th. Michael Bennett is 5th. And let's
all I gotta say with Paul Durkee, that's an answer from God basically for him. That's a gift. As he was below the cut line in the playoffs, he gets the win here at Talladega, and he's going to probably most likely advance himself to the round of 10 for the championship. Anything can happen at Talladega.
And it most certainly normally does. Paul Durkee in the number 13, he is going to be your winner. Anthony Williams second, Matt Sisler third. Let's get set up to do some interviews with what is likely to be a very overjoyed Paul Durkee here. And while we do that, let's take a look at the finishing order. Paul Durkee is going to be your winner. Anthony Williams second. Matt Sisler rounds out the podium. Michael Bennett 4th. Paul Ferdiani is 5th. Tom Bear 6th. Zeth Hawley is 7th. Jesse Redding is 8th. Joseph Bennett 9th. Chris Gones, after blowing the engine, gets the spare car out. He'll finish 10th. Caleb Sisk will come home 11th after leading it through the tri-oval on the last lap. Skylar Harrod comes home 12th. Nick Biddy 13th. Chris Klein 14th. Thomas Welch is 15th. Benjamin McKinnon 16th. Mike Corvu 17th. Justin Lawson 18th. What a tough break for Joshua Moore. He will be scored 19th and 1 lap down. He did not make it to the start-finish line. Alfie Sharon Jr. is going to be scored 20th. 21st, Sean Roberts. Joe DeVede 22nd. And Scott Milner, shotgun on the field, 38 laps in arrears. And let's see if any of the drivers are going to want to join us here in the interview booth. I would suspect that we're going to have some pretty happy guys. Let's go ahead and pull up Matt Sizzler. Matt Sizzler, Mark Murphy, Kendall Paul in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I do.
So how wild was that last lap? Walk us through what you saw and kind of how you made it to third.
I'm currently still trying to figure that out. Because as last I knew, we were 12th trying to get that third line to work on the high side. Multiple incidents. Luckily, we never actually had to go to the backup. The faster pair stayed in the back pocket the whole race. And, but that last lap, I was just up high hoping like if chaos happened, we could just put it to the floor and it would stay down. But, I honestly like I just saw them all wreck and I put my foot to the floor and came through and I was side by side with the 20, but I think he might have had too many incidents. So we'll take third.
Yeah, that's a pretty amazing run. Kendall, any questions for Mr. Sizzler this evening?
Well, congrats on your third place finish after a wild finish. Now you're in the transition from come here from Talladega. Now you got to focus on Homestead, the championship race. Obviously, you're going to go compete for a championship, I believe, with the point standings as they are now, and with your third place finish. How does that look for the 93 Three Birdies Toyota on how to prepare for that?
I think our Three Birdies Toyota will have a good shot at Homestead. I like Homestead in the Xfinity cars. Night race, it'll be cool. It'll help with keeping, gripping the tires, keeping them cool for longer, and definitely a different beast than Talladega. I'm pretty sure you could drop Homestead in the middle of this place and it wouldn't hit the sides. Yeah, but I like Homestead. It's probably going to be a little bit loose on corner exit. Just have to keep the car under us and give it everything we got. We know we're going to be up against it. There's a lot of really good drivers, but we're in with a shot, and that's all I wanted.
Absolutely. And speaking of the shot, it is your shot to give the shout outs, friends, family, sponsors, anybody you'd like to thank this evening.
Obviously, Three Birdies Golf Company for sponsoring our Toyota Camry. They got a bunch of cool gear up on their website at threebirdiesgolf.com. Again, big thanks to them for the sponsorship. It's been a blast to have them on board. My paint designer, Lil Hooper Designs, he's done an amazing job, and I believe he's taking commissions. If you can find him, I believe he's still taking commissions. He created the awesome scheme that you see on your screen right now. Celsius for the quick energy. Just looking at the car, UNOH, which is Lil Hooper's school. For giving him the education to make these schemes. He'll deny it's them, but we all know it's them. So, thanks to Derek for putting on NTRL, and to you, Mark and Kendall, for doing an awesome job on the broadcasts.
Well, we appreciate it, and thank you so much for the compliments. Heck of a run to third place today, Matt. You hung out in the back for most of it, but you were across the line when it counted. Keep going fast, having fun, and we'll see you at Homestead, my friend.
Sounds good. I'll see you guys there.
Absolutely. We do not, as it appears, have Anthony Williams in the Discord, but we will give him his due. Anthony Williams is going to run second in the number 5 Butler Brothers sand and gravel machine. He's going to come home second. He is not yet down there, but we do want to show him. And it doesn't appear he's in a team channel either. So great run for Anthony Williams today. He started 15th. He brings it home second. And that's going to bring up our winner, Paul Durkee. Paul, Mark Murphy, Kendall Paul in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
I got you. How you doing, guys?
My goodness. So I asked Matt this question, and I've got to ask you, what did you see coming to the checkered flag, and how in the world did you manage to get your car through that mess?
Yeah, it just started going haywire up there, and it just it was like Moses in the sea just opened up for me. A nice big hole, and I went through it.
Absolutely. So you had kind of an up and down day. You led for some of the event. You went to the back for some of it. Kind of talk us through your thought process and how you managed and how you navigated this field.
Yeah, we were the last few races. We've just been trying to kind of hang to the back and let all the carnage happen, and then at the end of the race come up through because it's been a horrible season for us as far as getting wrecked out. But that race, it was we just stayed back and let things happen and tried to be there at the end. And my teammate Justin, he's an awesome pusher. He's a great guy to have on your team. So we work well together, and he gets me up towards the front, and I try to take advantage of it.
Absolutely. Kendall, Paul, any questions for the winner today?
Yeah, congrats, Paul Durkee, on your win. Now, I'm imagining, we'll have to see how the points shake out after. I'm imagining with this win, you'll be in the round of 10 for the playoffs. How do you switch from parting the seas here at Talladega to Homestead, Miami for a shot at the championship here in the NTRL Xfinity Series?
Homestead's a totally different animal. You got to be a little easy on your tires. And just be there at the end on that one. It's a tough race. There's a lot of good guys still in this thing, and it all comes down to being in the right place at the right time and just being there at the end.
Well, you were absolutely in the right place at the right time today, Paul. You score the win. Congratulations on that. You punch your ticket to the championship 10. Any friends, family, sponsors, teammates that you'd like to give a shout out today? The floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, let's start out by thanking you guys for broadcasting us this season. It's been nice having you aboard, and I'd like to say hello to my two fan club members, Connie and Bertie, up in Lyme, New Hampshire. They really enjoy watching you guys and watching us on television, and my teammates, Justin. Brandon and Benny. They're all there for me the whole time, and a big shout out to Derek and the guys at Numb Thumbs. They put in a lot of time and a lot of their own money to make this thing work, and I really appreciate all they do for us.
Absolutely echo those sentiments. So for the first time this season, Paul, and hopefully not the last, I get to tell you, keep going fast, having fun, and we will see you next week in Homestead.
Yeah, hopefully I talk to you guys again next weekend.
Absolutely. Thank you, Paul.
Yep.
So that's Paul Durkee. He is the winner today, and I'm gonna break the Kendall. I'm gonna break the kind of the rule. We're gonna show what Paul Durkee saw on the last lap. So this is the pack as it comes. They're down the backstretch, and I'm gonna try to get it so that we can watch in slow motion exactly what he saw. So here's the pack. We're coming down the backstretch. You're looking, fans, at Caleb Sisk leading it. He has help. He has Chris Klein and Sean Roberts, and we know that both of those guys are more than capable of going to the front. He's got Josh Moore, but there's Paul Durkee. He is, by my count, 12th going into turn 3. And here's what he sees. Guys are starting to bounce off each other. You can kind of see it brewing, but you don't see very much out of that windshield, do you? Still, everybody looks good though. Now here's you kind of see the car undulate right there. That's that hump I was talking about, and the seas just part. And I don't think that Paul Durkee hit anybody or anything. Anthony Williams might have got into him a little bit, but I don't think We'll watch it again. Now this is just focusing on Williams and Durkee here. And then we'll go back and do Matt Sizzler. It's almost like Anthony Williams knocked him straight.
And I think also that what helped out there a little bit, the iRacing gods kind of gave the 13 a gift a little bit, because actually, I mean, I don't know if you're seeing the same thing I'm seeing, but the 6 actually goes the car goes inside the 13 of Paul Durkee a little bit. So maybe even a gift from the racing gods and a gift from the iRacing gods as well.
Yeah, it could be. Sometimes that happens when you get cars that are spinning like that in the service. The system can't calculate quick enough at these speeds. Here's Matt Sizzler. And that's his view. Now, Justin Lawson did get put to the back of the lead lap on a time penalty. He was out of incidents. And so that's he got an incident penalty in the 20. So a tough break for him. But that's what Matt Sizzler saw. And that's kind of where we'll leave it today, Kendall Paul. We saw a very, very, very fun contest, and I'm sure a popular victory for Paul Durkee here. That's not somebody that we've seen up in the booth. Now, we've had Matt Sizzler. We have not had Anthony Williams, and he elected not to join us. But Paul Durkee is somebody who he's been here every week. He has given a good accounting of himself. He's done a wonderful job, and he got it done today. And that's kind of what we were talking about. Talladega, known for producing unexpected results, first-time winners, and a great job today for Paul Durkee to take home the win.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, it pays to come out to every race, because you never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to fall in your lap. And not only that always happens, it's really appreciated on the league owner standpoint of things when you have drivers that are running outside the top 10, but they still show up and they still have to come out here to have fun and everything. And like we saw tonight, Paul Durkee was rewarded with that tonight and gets a win here at Talladega. Just really huge shout out here to Paul Durkee.
Not only that, but he punches his ticket to Homestead. He's in it with a shot to win the championship now. And so, don't get down on yourself if you have some bad luck or have a bad run of bad luck. And certainly Paul has had his share, but he got a shot of good luck tonight. And that puts him in a really, really awesome spot headed for Homestead, Miami. That will be the final race of the season next Monday, 8:10 Eastern Standard Time, right here on the P1 Broadcasting Network. Kendall Paul and I will bring 130 laps from Homestead, and that will be the championship finale here in the NTRL Prospec Custom Accessories Xfinity Series. Tomorrow night, later on tonight, our friend Gary Godso and Luis Gonzalez Nunez, they're going to be broadcasting the ISRA Truck Series. I believe that show is on now. Tomorrow night, we will have the flagship broadcast of the P1 network. That is going to be the IndyCar Top Split, and we are going, Kendall Paul, to Rockingham, North Carolina. We're going to run IR18s around the Rock. How about that?
I'm sure that is going to be a very fun race for some and a very terrifying race for others. I honestly went into that race the first time, and I thought I was going to hate it, but I love that racetrack. I'm really excited to see how that race turns out for you guys. We'll be there. That'll be on at 7:15 Eastern Standard Time. So 7:15 Eastern Standard right here on P1. And I believe most of our other series are off currently. So I will be enjoying the break. I'm gonna take the time to do some racing of my own. And Kendall, I know you'll be doing the same. For everybody at P1 Broadcasting, myself, Kendall Paul, thank you to all the first responders, the military, police, fire, EMS, all the people that do the hard work at night so that we can sleep in our beds safely. Would like to give a special shout out to all of the veterans, every member of the military that has served our country. We owe you all a deep, deep debt of gratitude. This is your day, and I hope it was a good one. For Mark Murphy, Kendall Paul, signing off here tonight from Talladega Superspeedway. Paul Durkee is your winner. We will see you next week.